Welcome to Season 2 of the Dr. Nikki Starr Show, a podcast to support you in your spiritual awakening and personal development. As a spiritual teacher, healer, and intuitive coach, my intention is to empower you to live your ultimate potential and your ultimate life. As a former medical doctor and mystic, my role is to bridge the gap between science and spirituality to support you in understanding more of your multidimensional aspects. I share on a diverse range of topics, and it's all to support your greatest becoming. My mission is to continue reaching millions of people for the healing and awakening of humankind for the creation of the new earth. Thank you for being here. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Dr. Nikki Starr Show. I'm your host, Dr. Nikki Starr, and today we will be talking about and on forgiveness. And in one of the earlier episodes, I did talk about and share that I would have an episode be completely dedicated to forgiveness. It's a very popular topic in the spirituality space, but also in relationships and just living our ultimate lives and also feeling really good about our lives. And oftentimes forgiveness comes into play when we're thinking of the past. And firstly, I want to say that it's so important that we trust the past events that have happened. And especially when events can be really challenging and we wish they maybe went a different way. I like to say that it's so important to focus on the now and focus on what it is you can control and change. There's no sense in wasting energy on things we can't change. So anything that another person did, sitting there and kind of regretting and remorsing over it is a waste of our energy in a sense. What is a more constructive form of our energy use is changing our relationship to how we have experienced events and how we have allowed them to affect us, and also receiving whatever lessons and gifts the situation has allowed for us. So every situation has lessons for us. And also gratitude. Gratitude is another piece that's so important when we're thinking of our past, because every single situation has led us to the present moment. So if there is ever a time that you feel regretful about the past, know that it has served you because in some way it has shaped who you are today. Now, some experiences that are very challenging, we might think like, oh, it made me a worse person. But I don't think that's true. I think that every relationship and every situation has a chance to serve us for the better, for our greatest becoming. And forgiveness and trust are big pieces to how we can experience our lives much differently, especially past events, so that we can create the current events to be ones that we're happy and satisfied with and feel like, yes, I showed up the way I wanted to show up. And so everything is guiding us to our greatest becoming. And sometimes if things have happened in a way that you don't like what's the silver lining? Like even recently, I had a friend reach out to me and she said that her and her partner, she went and moved to a place for him, like a country that's not her native place, but it's his. And she was telling me that she felt like this person was not her husband. But for some reason, she kept feeling drawn back to connect with this man. Now, one part of me would be like, darling, you don't see him as your husband. Do you think it would be in your best interest to say goodbye so you open up the space to meet a man that is for you, that you feel is aligned in all the different ways, and especially in the ways that you don't feel met by this other man? And that's what I would advise a client, for example. And yes, of course, we love people and we love even our past relationship. Like people who were in relationship in the past, like if it was a real true relationship, you're going to always love them, but it doesn't mean that you're meant to be with them. Right. And so it was interesting because she and him had gotten into a disagreement, and he was not appreciative of the way she responded to him. And so he said, okay, I want to break up and I don't want to talk anymore. And she's sad and hurt. But then she was like, how do I move through these feelings? And I said to her, perhaps this is a gift for you, because within yourself, you're not able to let go. And so perhaps him feeling ready to let go is the exact gift that you need. Now, when we think of forgiveness, it works two ways. It's forgiveness to others, towards others, and it's also forgiveness to ourselves. Oftentimes when we feel angry about things that have happened in the way is some aspect of resentment or anger within ourselves. Like, why did I do that? Like, why didn't I just do that thing? Why didn't I just stick to that choice? And we feel and we like berate ourselves for what we should have, could have, would have did. But the truth is we didn't do that in the moment. We did our best. We did what we felt. Likely we followed our heart, we followed intuition, or we followed some impulse that was guiding us to do, respond, say, act in a certain way. And so I think even before forgiveness towards other people, we always must and should and can forgive ourselves. And when we do, it's like, it makes it that much easier, because oftentimes our emotions and feelings towards other people are just a reflection of what's happening inside. So if you feel resentful inside, you're going to resent people. If you don't accept parts of yourself, you're not going to accept parts of people. If you fully love and accept yourself, you're going to fully love and accept other people. Of course, you still have your boundaries. You still have the ways in which you operate, but your relationship with yourself is ultimately going to be your relationship with other people. And so whenever we think of forgiveness, we think of feeling trespassed against, betrayed, hurt in some way. And over the years, as I've worked with clients in different programs and courses, it's been really fascinating to see where a lot of people are still holding on to anger towards their biological parents. And they feel like resentment and anger about the way their parents raised them, the things they did. They maybe felt abused. They maybe felt not taken care of. And the thing is that our parents and anyone is always doing their best. If they didn't show up the way we wanted them to, it was not their intention. They were doing their best. And compassion is a really powerful spiritual law that allows us to put ourselves in the shoes of another person. And when we see the situation from their perspective and their life, and what they were feeling and what they were going through, and we have that zoomed out view, then we can find some softening in our heart. And sometimes people even get sick, like physically sick, even like skin conditions and autoimmune diseases and actual physical sickness from holding on to anger, resentment, grudges. And so ultimately you want to forgive because you want to set yourself free, because you care for your health and your well-being. And harboring any kind of emotions towards another person is only going to hurt yourself, because it's like tethering them to you. When you hold grudges or anger or resentment or anything towards another person, it's like you're literally saying, I'm not going to let you go. I'm going to keep this situation going in my consciousness. And this is not serving you. It's not serving them. It keeps their vibration low, because you can allow that energy to come. It's like you're freeing up energy. Free them, and you free yourself, and then you create space for you to be in relationship with another person. Whether it's romantic or not, it's not about that. It's just your power and energy being reclaimed and returned back to you when you forgive. Because when you do not forgive, it's essentially like you are holding on to the person and not letting them go. So sometimes we're like, yeah, but I can't forgive. I can't forget this. Like, it is too much. Like, it is not right. Like, I can't. And I hear that. I definitely hear that. And so part of what we can come into, I have an ascension code on acceptance. So acceptance is, and if you want to go deeper, I recommend that ascension code, but it's essentially accepting the things you cannot change and the things that you cannot control. And it's like using compassion to really allow yourself to come into that space of love. And I really invite you in moments when you can to really let go of the things that you cannot change and the things that are not serving you and anything connected to other people, because this is causing your life force energy to be put on hold. It's like you're stuck. So forgiveness serves to unstuck us. It's not really a word, but I'm just saying that because if you ever feel like stuck in relationships or you're repeating patterns in relationship, it's because you have not fully forgiven. And oftentimes, if you do not forgive where you felt perpetrated or betrayed or hurt by, you will then find someone else to act out that dynamic with so that you can heal it within yourself. So it serves to go back to the first moment you ever felt that anger, pain, resentment, or that situation, or anything that mirrors that. You can do it with the person in the now, but you can also do it like the first moment that you experienced a situation like that, because then that's going to kind of nip it in the bud where that frequency and vibration started. And the best thing that you can do when you're thinking of forgiveness is literally trusting and knowing that everyone is doing their best, because they are, and that it's not even personal. Usually if someone is doing something, it's probably not even personal to you. It's like they are going through their own stuff and they are perhaps hurting in some way. And then you come along and it's just like this trigger. And people trigger each other. We always, that's part of relationships, is we're triggering each other. And we trigger each other so that we can heal aspects of ourselves and come into greater wholeness and come into greater love and compassion and acceptance for all that is. And so if you're feeling challenged by forgiveness, I also recommend that you simply state the intention that you're willing to begin the process of forgiveness. Because it's true, we can't really like fake it. Like, okay, I know it's good for me to forgive, so I'm just going to do it. Because inside you, you're still going to feel it. So what's more potent and powerful is for you to really come into a space where you're like, okay, because you don't want to hurt anymore. So it's like, I don't want to hurt anymore. So I am going to trust. I am going to hand it over and be willing to forgive somehow, some way, by some miracle. And I'm going to do it for myself. I'm going to do it to set myself free. I'm going to do it to upgrade my relational dynamics. I'm going to do it for the future generations. I'm going to do it for love. I'm going to do it for family. I'm going to do it for fill in the blank. So find that greater purpose of why and how you would like to forgive. And you don't even need to know the how, actually, but it's more like, I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm happy and I want to try, at least try. Because trying is the first step. If we're talking about empowering language, it's like you do it. But when you're not sure if you can do it, it's better just to try, like a food. Like, okay, I don't think I'm going to like this food, but I'm going to try it. And it's like, okay, like, I don't know if I can forgive, but I'm going to try. And I'm going to be open to it. I'm going to set the intention for it. And so in my rituality course, I share forgiveness rituals, and there's ways that you can go about doing forgiveness rituals that it's really by grace, by the divine energies, by your divine support team, that you can come into those frequencies of forgiveness. And there's certain invocations and certain prayers that I share. And so prayer is a very powerful way to help you forgive. And like I said, most importantly, whenever you do a forgiveness ritual towards someone else, you also want to do it towards yourself. Like forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for any way you contribute to the situation, any way you've been hard on yourself. Because ultimately, like I said, the relationship we have with ourselves is the relationship with everyone. So if there's a situation that happens, forgive yourself and also forgive the other. And then in that sending love to yourself and honoring yourself, and in the bonus content, we're going to do a process for that. You're also going to take time to then have that space and just that capacity to forgive another. Okay. And so today I really invite you to reflect on your life and reflect on the places that your energy is bound because you're still holding a grudge and you're still holding anger and resentment. And it doesn't mean you have to forget, though there are advanced energy techniques in my level 3 and 4 of my Ultimate Energy course that can help you erase memories that are not serving you. So there is an actual process you can do to erase situations that continue to perpetuate turmoil and suffering if it's hard for you to forget and you want to forget. And I feel, when people kind of say like, I'll forgive, but I'll never forget, there's an aspect of resentment still there. So I'm not a fan of that. I think it's more like I forgive and I learn the lessons and I trust I will integrate so that I make better decisions and I have better experiences moving forward. That is a more empowering, letting go energy than like, I'll forgive, but I'll never forget. You want to be mindful and clean up anywhere those resentments are, because that is, again, that stuck energy. That's the place where you're going to really kind of like, I don't want to say hurt your chances, but that's where you can continue to perpetuate possible dynamics that can be quote unquote toxic, but I don't like to use that word because I don't want to use judgments, but that's where you can continue to find yourself in loops of relationship dynamics that are not serving because you are essentially not letting go. You want to let go when you forgive. Like, I let go, I set you free, because you set your heart free, you set your mind free, you release yourself from suffering. Because anytime you're replaying events, should have did this, wish I did that, can't believe that happened, can't believe they did this to me, this is hurting you over and over again, because the brain does not recognize the difference between what you're thinking and what's actually happening. So when you replay a memory in your mind, you relive it over and over and over and over again. So when you choose to forgive yourself and others, it's like you set that memory, that relationship, that person, the energy dynamics free, and then you open yourself up to live a different experience, to live a different moment. And if you can find gratitude, amazing. For the situation, for the person, amazing. And if you can find the lessons, even better. Because when we learn a lesson, the universe doesn't send it to us anymore. So if you find yourself living the same situation over and over and over again, but a different person, and if a situation is reminding you of a past person, look within. Same script, different cast, same movie being replayed, but with different characters, same characters, but different actors, we can say. This is a dynamic you're living out within yourself. And there is something within you that wants to be healed, that wants to be looked at. But forgive yourself. Give yourself the grace, the compassion. And look within, reflect. What are the lessons? What are you grateful for about this situation? And gratitude is always so powerful in helping us to see the good in it all. And the other piece I want to bring in here is innocence. And
if we could choose to see situations from the light of innocence, that everyone is innocent, the other person's innocent, they made a mistake. You are innocent, you made a mistake. And you start to operate from seeing people in their highest potential and even though some people might have malicious intentions, I truly believe, though, it comes from an innocence of self-preservation. I really believe in the goodness of people, that people are good. I really believe that. I really feel that in my bones. And I believe that they've lived experiences that have made them become ways that maybe are less desirable and challenging and can hurt others. But remember, it's hurt people that hurt others. So it's just because they're hurting that they might hurt you, or that they might have betrayed you or trespassed against you. But if you can find that space, and this is what I believe true spirituality is. True spirituality is when you come into the most compassion and love you can in every moment. And it doesn't mean you're a doormat, and it doesn't mean that you need to stay in situations that are not kind and loving towards you. Absolutely not. But it's to see it all and walk away from it all and forgive it all from that place of compassion and love. And it can be hard, and it takes you putting it aside your ego, and it takes you putting aside your pride, and it also takes you putting aside your righteousness. Yeah, but I'm right and they're wrong. And it also requires you not to blame and not to feel like you have to justify anything. And so the more we forgive, the more we let go, the more we find compassion, the more we see the innocence in everyone, and we hold that frequency, I feel that it's less and less that we even have situations that we need to forgive. It's more and more that peace is created in our life and harmony is created, because you're not like wanting it to fight. You're not trying to fight. You're not being a fighter. You're being a lover. And it's in that space of being a lover that so much beauty happens. And of course, in all of our relationships, we will make mistakes and we will say the wrong thing, and we will say it insensitively, or we might react or respond from emotions. But how quickly can you return to love and forgiveness? And how quickly can you soften? And if things are meant to be let go of, like people and situations and relationships, that's still okay. You can still do that and also forgive yourself and forgive others. Because then you're setting yourself up to magnetize in and attract in the situations that are more harmonious and more loving and more compassionate. You go first, though. Your frequency will attract in the people and the situations that are aligned with your highest good and greatest becoming. And so with that, I invite you to join me in the bonus content where we will do a process of forgiveness and healing connected to being able to forgive and choosing to forgive. And I also invite you into Ascension Codes Acceptance and also the Rituality course for the forgiveness rituals. And so with that, I send you so much love. Thank you for even being able to consider and listen to this podcast episode, because it can be very triggering when you're upset still, and when you feel you have been wronged, and when you feel that you're a victim. And I totally understand and get that. And I have felt that way too. But for your health, for your sanity, for your relationships, for living your ultimate life, and for setting yourself free, I highly recommend that you forgive, or at least be willing to forgive. And so I send you love. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Dr. Nikki Starr Show. Please like this podcast and share it with anyone you feel would benefit. Subscribe to the podcast to receive bonus content, and remember, every Monday the video version goes live on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for being on the Ascension path with me and for doing this great work. Sending love until next time.